So someone wrote in and said they fell in love with someone who's already in a poly relationship. They didn't mean to fall in love. It was not, the partners had not...
It was supposed to be casual.
It was supposed to be casual. And they don't know, the partner doesn't know that the two of them love each other romantically. And
so they're in an open relationship.
Right. But
dating casually.
Yes, and it was supposed to be a casual outside relationship.
Fell in love with the casual person.
And they don't know how to talk.
And they haven't told the partner yet.
Yeah, and they're like, do we wait until he's more uncomfortable with us or with me, or what do we do? So this is Reid Mahalka from readaboutsex.com.
Cathy Vartuli from theintimacydojo.com. What's your advice?
I look at it from the point of view, if I was that person and I found out it'd been going on for a long time, and I wasn't told, I'd be a lot more hurt than if someone talked to me right away.
So this is really interesting because this kind of, it's not the same question. And thank you everyone who writes in. It's not, the question can be different, but there's this interesting, the dynamic of how long should we wait if we're waiting because we want the other person to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Like we're going to delay the information because we want the other person to get used to the situation and hopefully like the situation, right? Like that's the hope, is like, oh, if we wait a little while, it won't occur as too hard, too fast.
Right.
And then the person will be able to handle the information or the truth differently than if we just sprung it on them immediately.
No, there's a good point. And I think like if you're waiting a month so we can have a couple dinners and I get to know you, that like if I'm putting myself in that position, I'd be like, maybe that's okay. If it's been 6 months, I'm gonna be pissed. Like this is like the inauthenticity. That would be me.
But so again, so it's going to be different for everybody.
Yep.
Baseline concept or idea. Most people's relationship drama, poly, monogamous, whether you're swinger, kink, whatever, most people's relationship drama tends to come from dating people who are either horrible fits for you. You want to have kids, I don't want to have kids. Monogamous or poly, that's going to cause some friction at some point, right? Because we're both hoping for the other person to change.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
So there's upset that comes from bad fit, and then there's upset that comes from you are dating people who don't have a high enough emotional intelligence, which you could also fit in the bad fit category. But think of it this way. If you dated people who knew themselves more and could handle life in all the weird ways human beings are weird, and knew themselves really well and how they handle surprise, upset, jealousy, betrayal, like if they just kind of like, oh, it's not always pleasant, but I can navigate life, right? Dating people with higher emotional IQs or relationship IQs, more self-awareness applied, because you can know a lot about yourself. Like, I know I should be doing such and such, but I don't do it. Versus, I know I should do such and such, and I do it on a daily basis as a practice. Dating people with higher emotional intelligences tends to make for at least better drama in your relationships.
Yeah.
So here, the question is, can you have a conversation with said partner about how long they would wait?
Oh, that's clever.
For information versus feeling comfortable in a situation. That might be a great conversation to have with all the poly people you're dating in the beginning of dating. Hey, just checking in because you're the partner of this person that I'm dating. I'm just curious, would you rather hear something sooner if you felt uncomfortable, or wait a little bit for information when it was a good time? What works well for you? Here's the sticker. And what has you feel more respected and seen as a human being who's important in the world?
And this is hindsight 2020, but like you could even, as you're negotiating, okay, we're going to be open, but we're going to keep it casual. Like, okay, how, if I notice something is not feeling casual, what are our, how soon do you want me to tell you, and what are our recourses?
Yeah.
So,
honey, if we're going to be poly and date other people, and what happens if I start to fall in love and I wasn't intending on it?
Yeah.
Now, this becomes problematic now because you're having a retroactive conversation, and partners might be like, wait a minute, why didn't you tell me this sooner? In which case you're like, I didn't know sooner. I would have told you immediately if I thought that that was a good fit for you, but I made a judgment call that it would be better to wait. I'm sorry if that was the wrong call. And then somebody with a high emotional IQ is like, oh, yeah, human beings do that sometimes. I get it. I wish you hadn't, but I understand where you're coming from. It seemed like you were trying to be kind, and I'm a little upset, but I know how to navigate my upset. Don't talk to me for 2 days, and I'll come back to you, and then we'll have the forgiveness conversation. Like, when you date people like that, then you can make the wrong call or forget or didn't even know to have a conversation. So now it has to be retroactive.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, we get it because we're like, we're adulting now.
Yeah. And it's a challenging situation, and people don't always control when they fall in love, and it just like, oh crap, this happened. But being as respectful and open as soon as you feel like you can, I think that's important.
And I would check out my difficult conversation formula at readaboutsex.com/convo, CONVO. That can also help. The last thing I'll end on is my experience is that telling somebody sooner is almost better than later.
Yep.
And when you start realizing, oh shit, should I have done it by now? That's how you know. There are exceptions to this rule. An example being they just had somebody close to them pass away. Maybe don't tell them at the funeral. Like, but again, like, you kind of can't wait forever.
Yeah. So
have a conversation at some point about how do we handle when there's information and it doesn't seem like a good time to have a conversation.
And this may not be a fit for everybody, but I think there's a tendency to like, we're in love and we're going to go tell the person together. It's really between you and your original partner. Probably best to leave the other person out.
For now.
Just let your partner have their responses with you and deal with that rather than having to deal with negotiating with another person there. So we hope this helps.
And also be aware of new relationship energy.
Yeah.
You can Google that and learn what that's about.
Yeah, we have a video on it actually.
Comments. Leave some comments.
Thanks
Good luck.
for asking.